How is everybody doing? Let me know if you can see me on the video in the comments. We'll get started shortly here. There's been recent developments with my roofing company that I'm going to cover today. Pretty much done with the commission structure. I'll share some of that today. Just final kinks to be worked out. I hopped on Zoom with this roofing client earlier this week. Me and him have been texting back and forth. Basically, a couple things I wanted to cover today. So earlier last week, I asked for the commissions, and this is a client that I've been working with for the last 8 years. The deal we had before was like 5% commission on any jobs $10,000 and below, and then 3% commissions on any jobs $10,000 and up. And a week ago, I got the commission structure back from him saying any job around ten to $50,000 around 3%, and anything beyond $50,000 to 100,000 is like 2.5. Max was like 3.3%, and anything above 50,000 was going down to 2.5, 2%. Anything up in the north of 500,000 is 1 to 2%. Anything beyond $1 million and up, 1%. Now, if you still get those big jobs, it's still gonna turn into like really good money. However, I had a meeting with that client earlier this week. See, I'm gonna try to provide as much value as possible so you guys can get some value when dealing with your own clients as well, right? It's always important to come from a position of strength and power when dealing with business owners. Quite honestly, dealing with any relationship, right? If you're gonna set up a meeting, always remember to come with data, always rehearse what you're gonna cover, leave no stones unturned as much as possible. And be more savvy than the business owner. Expect what the business owner is going to come back at you with and then offer rebuttals. Do your research. They came at me with 3% commission, right? And I wanted a little bit more, right? And so I've done my research. So for example, I used AI to come up with what is the industry standard? How much do roofing companies actually pay in terms of commission or when they pay for AdWords? I did the cost analysis research using AI. So marketing cost analysis for $50,000 roof replacement job, summary of research findings. So Google ad costs for roofing in Chicago, AI scraped a bunch of different places, including Reddit and different places like that to try to figure out the Google ad cost in Chicago, right? So average cost per click in the roofing, $8 to $15 for roofing keywords in Chicago area. General roofing industry CPC range, $8 to $10. Competitive markets in Chicago tend to be higher end, $11 to $15 cost per click. Residential roofing keywords typically cost less than commercial roofing keywords. Average cost per lead, $187 to $200 for roofing leads in Chicago. Okay, so when I saw this, it makes sense because I worked with other pay-per lead type of companies for roofing, or I've seen their numbers and they're paying like $150 per lead. So this is still in line with what I've seen in the industry. Industry average cost per lead for roofing via search ads, $187 according to Glasshouse. Higher exclusive leads can cost $200 to $300. Okay, that's just lead, guys, right? So you $300 per lead, you get 10 leads, you just spent $3,000, right? You better close one of those jobs. If one of those jobs turn into a $10,000, $15,000 job, then you're still being profitable. But obviously, with that, you're always at risk of the ads cutting into your margins because if you're paying for lead, whereas we do commissions, right? So it's even better for the client. These are things that I'm explaining to my client. Average closing rate for roofing companies based on cross-reference industry data. Third-party leads according to Glasshouse, 10 to 20% close rate. High-performing companies, 30 to 40% closing rate. I highly doubt a company can close at 40% though across the board. The roofing industry is pretty competitive. And as time goes on, it's probably going to get more competitive, right? And every industry gets more competitive. So as time goes on, the profit margin will go lower and lower, especially with AI replacing a lot of the tech jobs. I feel like we're going to have more of a resurgence on people investing in HVAC and roofing companies or people coming into this space. This is my prediction. I know already seeing people like Grant Cardone talking about investing in blue collar businesses like roofing companies, HVAC companies. Anyways, things get more competitive over time. When things get more competitive, people are going to come in lower prices, willing to do the job for lower and slimmer margins. And my client has to sometimes match those lower prices, even at the sacrifice of lowering profit margins, right? So that's always something to keep in mind, especially in the roofing niche or roofing industry. When you're closing $100,000 jobs, you got so much employers that they're paying around the clock, their margin gets considerably lower and lower. Okay, so referral leads, cost calculations for $50,000 roof replacement job. Okay, so scenario one, using Google Ads. For this calculation, we'll use the following assumption. Average closing rate for Google Ads is 15%. Average cost per lead for roofing in Chicago is $187. Number of leads needed, one closed deal divided by 15% closing rate at 6.6 leads. So you need 6.67 leads to get one closed deal at 15% closing rate. Total marketing cost around 7 leads. They just rounded up to 7 leads for one job is $1,300. So if you take $1,300 divided by $50,000, you're at 2.6%. Let's say you close a job at $20,000, right? To get that $20,000 job, it was like 6.5% of the revenue. So now I'm starting to get a general sense of a commission structure where a range of 3 to 6% is what I'm starting to see, right? This is just a different scenario. If it only took 3 leads, if they close 35%, yeah, that's the thing. If they close a bigger percentage, customer acquisition cost goes down as well. But this is also assuming that cost per click stays the same at $187, right? And that's calculated based on cost per click, like $10 to $15 per cost per click. But remember, with AdWords, when more people start running AdWords, that can also go up to $20 cost per click too, right? Suddenly these numbers are going to be even higher. But as you can see, mathematically, this obviously would apply to any industry. You just have to ask them, hey, what is your close rate? If I send you 10 leads, would you close at 15%, 20%? And you can even use AI to do industry research on Google Ads cost per click. And then you can pretty much figure with their close rate how much they would pay to close a job if they were to run AdWords, right? So then it's a very easy sell to be like, okay, I'll charge the same amount AdWords spends, but unlike AdWords might go up in price sometimes, whereas mine's gonna be whatever you close. So it's like much safer for a business to be scaling, because what happens when you run AdWords, you're still paying for every click. And let's say your crew is already booked out and you're not able to go quote that job within a week, suddenly your close rate gone down because they go to another company, or you're still paying for that click, right? So when you're scaling, sometimes you might have to turn down jobs because your crew is already booked up and you have to figure out how to hire new crew, get other crews as subcontractors, but sometimes it can take time when you're scaling. With AdWords, it can be unforgiving because they're going to charge you regardless. Now I'm going to go into the next research that I've done.